As our country opens up and you're able to start to return to your sport, one of the things you know you're going to be greeted by as you get back is a ton of frustration. You know, we've all been out for about 3 months, our timing's going to be off, our skills are going to be rusty, our conditioning is going to be challenging at the best. And what that's going to bring up for a lot of us is a significant amount of negative thinking and doubts. We're going to get down on ourselves. And what I'd like to talk about today is how to handle that negative thinking. And we want to go far beyond the pandemic, because for a lot of athletes, negative thinking is one of these things that pops up a lot. And from my perspective, it's really normal. I'm Dr. Alan Goldberg. I'm a sports performance consultant, work with athletes across every sport at every level, and help them overcome performance fears and blocks and perform basically to their potential. A few weeks ago, I did a video on managing negative thinking and doubts. And I talked about how normal it is for athletes to have it, and the general skill, the idea you want to have in terms of dealing with this. But let me just talk about normalizing it. I've worked with Olympic gold medalists who've come around for their second Olympiad, who've been flooded with negative thinking before they perform. I've worked with high-level major league players, high visibility, who've won Golden Gloves, helped their teams get to the playoffs. They've dealt with negative thinking and doubts. So it's really, really normal. And the one thing you don't want to do when you have negative thinking is to try to be positive. Okay? Because any athlete who's got negative thinking sitting on the left shoulder and then tries to replace it with positive thinking on the right shoulder is not going to be paying attention to the performance. They're not going to be in the action, they're going to be in their head. And you'll never perform to your potential when you're overthinking. So the skill, rather than engaging your negative thinking, fighting with it, trying to push it out of the way, trying to replace it with positive thinking, the skill, and this is an elite level skill, is to learn to let the negative thinking go and to have a neutral response to it. And I've talked about before, one way of doing this is in your pre-performance routine, you have other things that you focus on to distract yourself from the negative thinking. But there's an exercise you can do at home that will train you, help you develop the muscle memory, if I can use that phrase, to learn to not have an emotional response when we have negative thoughts and to just let them pass. And the exercise is as follows. The first thing you have to do, the first step, is you want to make a script. You want to write out a script of the typical negative thoughts that you allow to run in your head when you get into trouble. My warm-up was lousy. What if I choke? What if this happens? What if that happens? What's the coach going to say? If I don't do well, I'm going to get benched. And what you want to do is you want to record that script in your cell phone. Okay, you want to make a recording, and we're looking for about 2 minutes. And the 2 minutes do not have to be original. You can have maybe 35, 40, 50 seconds and then repeat it a second time. And what you want to do is you want to say one of the statements like, oh my God, what if I choke? What if it happens again? And then you're going to pause for 5 or 6 seconds. And then you'll read the second one. And when you're recording this, you want to use the same kind of voice tone and tempo you would when you're thinking these thoughts in your head. A voice tone and tempo that will demonstrate alarm and or frustration or fear. Okay, and then so you'll go through your list and you'll record each one, and we want to have again about 2 minutes of recording. When you're done with that, then what you want to do is you want to do a concentration exercise that I've mentioned in other videos. And basically you can take an object from your sport. Let's say you use a ball, baseball, whatever, and you put it about 5 feet away from you. You allow your eyes to rest gently on a spot on the ball. You pick a spot out. You inhale. You focus on the feeling of your breath as you inhale. And when you exhale, you focus on the feeling as it goes out. So all you're doing is relaxed focus on the spot. Inhale, feel the breath. Exhale, feel the breath. And you do that for 2 minutes without any distractions. And what you're practicing is every time you get distracted, you want to notice it and you want to reset. That's the major skill of concentration I've talked about before. It's what we call a paradoxical skill. You'll learn to concentrate by catching yourself when you're not concentrating and resetting. Because as always, it's not a break in concentration that hurts you. It's a break in concentration that you don't catch and you continue to perform having lost your focus. Once you've done the 2 minutes without distractions, just focusing on the feeling of the breath in, feeling of the breath out, and when you get distracted, you reset. Then what you want to do is you want to turn your recording on, and you want to do 2 more minutes where the recording is playing, all that negative thought that usually goes through your head, and you're doing the same exercise. You're inhaling, feel the breath. You're exhaling, you feel the breath go out while you're watching in a relaxed gaze that ball. And your job is to learn when the negative thoughts go by to let them go and bring yourself back. And what you might find in the beginning is it's going to be really tough. Okay, it'll be really hard to sort of ignore that stuff that that tape you usually play in your head. With practice, you'll develop the skill of having a very neutral response. And this is something you need as you get back to your sport, and it's something you need that will help you develop mental toughness and stay calm under pressure. Okay, because negative thinking is part of our experience. We're thinking creatures. Under stress, when our nervous system revs up, we get negative. That's normal. Your job is to learn to not have an emotional response. Let the negativity go by practicing bringing your focus back and staying involved in the action and not on the thoughts in your head. I promise you, if you put time into this exercise, you'll be surprised at the kind of positive results that you get. And there'll be very few people on your block, in your neighborhood, that have this ability. Because it's incredibly empowering to know you don't have to control your negative thinking. You don't have to change it. All you have to do is control where you put your focus. And you want to keep it on what you're doing, not on what you're thinking. Now, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell icon just in case you want to hear about future videos I'm going to be producing. Give me your comments. I love getting feedback. If you have ideas about topics you'd like me to cover, I'm happy to do that. Thank you for listening, for watching, and good luck with your return.